Sam Kiefer is the CEO of the National Association of Wheat Growers. And Sam, we've really found wheat growers thrust into this conversation about glyphosate. What are you saying and talking to politicians and policymakers about right now? What's the messaging?
Well, Clinton, a lot of the conversations right now, we're just trying to make sure that policymakers, other voices in Washington, D.C., and frankly, everyone who has an interest in this conversation, first and foremost knows that farmers share the goals of making sure that food is safe and healthy. We also want to make sure that everybody understands, what farmers are using, how farmers are using these products, and why. And we're spending a lot of our time putting the extra details and context around the conversation. Particularly, there have been TV interviews and social media posts and billboards about parts per billion, 3-digit parts per billion of glyphosate in a food product, and that certainly sounds scary, but we're trying to make sure that people understand the context here. And the context that is missing in a lot of this conversation is we're not scientists. I'm not a scientist, most people are not. What is a part per billion? That's one drop of water in a backyard swimming pool. And the conversation that we're having with elected officials and policymakers in DC is making sure that they understand what really is the scope of what's going on. There's a difference between safety thresholds and legal tolerances. And the legal tolerance for glyphosate is 30,000 parts per billion. And a lot of the conversation that's happening right now is about 191 parts per billion. So, and that's just the legal tolerance. The safety threshold is 100 times higher than that. So, put it into other context, Clinton, for every day, the rest of our lives, in order to hit that legal tolerance with that brand of bread that was discussed, you and I would need to eat 600 loaves each and every day for the rest of our life to hit that legal tolerance. So what we're talking about here is extremely small trace elements, and that shows me that the technology that we have to monitor the health, the healthiness of our food supply, we're very precise, and we can detect extremely small amounts, even if it is not a human health concern.
One of the things we're doing here is obviously there's a lot of farmers from all over the country. What's the message to farmers as they see this conversation continue to evolve?
Our message to growers is simply, National Association of Wheat Growers is out there having the conversation. We are not afraid to engage in robust, honest, and thoughtful discussion about all herbicides. We've got a very robust regulatory system in the United States and across the globe. And this particular product is approved in 100 countries, and it's been on the market in the United States for decades, since 1974. We're trying to make sure that the growers are represented, to make sure that the products that our folks are using, not because they want to, but because they need to, but they're also using it very judiciously. We want to make sure that our folks know that we've got their back and that we are trying to have this conversation all across DC and in the public square. But it's a very difficult conversation, an emotionally charged conversation, and every single one of us, whether you work in DC or you're a grower, let's not be afraid to hold this conversation. Science is on our side, and it's not scary.
One of the things that the association has done is put out a website with a bunch of information there. Talk about why you did that and why it's important that folks go check it out.
We just posted a new page to our website and literally talks about glyphosate in wheat. As you said, we've been thrust into this conversation by sensationalism, by emotional rhetoric, and we think people are interested in their food. Let's answer those questions. So we answer the questions that we hear consumers asking, and we tell the story. We lean on science, we refer to the science, but we talk about it conversationally, and we truly explain the extent to which the dosage that farmers are using, and use the example of it's less than 2 cans of soda on a size of a football field. And we use the analogy of what is a part per billion. And we examples like that to help make it conversational, not just for folks who are trying to understand this to decide whether or not policy needs to be taken, but also for growers who are trying to answer the questions in the church parking lot or in the, at the Little League baseball game.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. We sure appreciate your time, and have a great week here.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.